Hey there, welcome or welcome back to my channel, String Things by Mel. My name is Melissa, and this is podcast episode number 25. It is the end of March. It is was a moody, rainy Tuesday, but it looks like it's clearing up. The sun may come out. Um, I actually don't mind the rain right now, also because we recently came back from our family vacation in Mexico. So coming back to some cooler, rainy weather was kind of welcoming. And also because I was really excited to wear jeans again. I mean, long jeans. If you don't know, I love wearing jeans. I don't wear yoga pants. I don't wear sweatpants. It is jeans, not 24/7. I do sleep in pajamas. So for the month of March, I didn't do too much knitting because of preparation for a vacation and then being on vacation. I haven't knit for about 2 weeks, and that's a good chunk of time. But I do have some whips to update you on and a couple acquisitions. But before getting into the whips and acquisitions, I thought I'd chat a little bit about our vacation, specifically what knits did I bring, wear, and work on. So, one of my goals from my spring and summer knitting queue video, I cast on camisole number 4, and my goal was to cast it on and get to the point of where I'm working in the round, just so that would be easy to jump in and out of for vacation. We went on vacation with, so there's a total of 7 adults and 3 kids, one of them being mine. And we all stayed under one roof. We rented a really nice large condo, 4-bedroom condo. Everyone had their own ensuite. We even had our own little mini wading pool. And then there was also the large pool that was part of the complex that we stayed at. It was not all inclusive, and it was seemed like a family-friendly place. There was other young families staying there, and beside the pool area, there's also a little playground for the kids. So all in all, great vacation. Tiring. Vacationing with young kids is mentally exhausting. That's something new for us. It was Darcy's first time on an airplane, and she did fantastic. What may have helped was, well, we flew business class, like first class on a Dreamliner 787. And no, we don't normally splurge for seats like that. My friend who we were traveling with, she happened to come across the deal through Avion Points, and she said, "Hey, look at this. Like, are you seeing this too? Seats for economy and business class are the same price right now." And I thought, crazy. And so we quickly looked at them, looked at the dates, and said, okay, let's book it. Also, because business class only has 16 seats. So between my family and her family, that's 7 people. So we were going to take up half of business class. So that night we bought our seats, and it was a crazy, like, killer deal to get these. And the seats there in business class on this particular plane, everyone has their own little pod. The seats fully recline, lie flat. You have your own little screen, comes with the headphones and everything. It was luxurious, and my husband was saying he almost wished the flight was longer, because normally for him, he's over 6 feet tall. Sitting in economy, even premium economy, legroom is a little tight, and he starts to ache about, an hour or two into the flight. So the fact that we could just kind of recline, lay down, sleep if you wanted to, it was great. And Darcy did end up sleeping both on the way there and on the way back. So much so that on the way there, I was able to watch an entire movie uninterrupted, and, sit and knit during that. And on the way back, I watched almost 2 movies with some interruptions because of dinner service and all that. But yeah, fabulous flight on the way there and back. So when we got on the airplane, I was greeted with a glass of champagne. It was 8 in the morning, but I still had it anyways. And once we were all comfortable, I brought out my project, which is this camisole number 4, as I said. And unfortunately, I forgot to put in a marker for where I started and where I'd left off on vacation. But this is what I was working on the plane. I worked on it for maybe an hour on the plane. So there's no straps on yet, but that's just the front triangles there. And I'm just working on the body, and I've got my markers in, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, so one for every 10 stitches, and I'm going to work until I get to 100 rounds, and that should be the length that I need to get to according to my row gauge. So when I get to that point, I'm going to stop and do a wet block just to double check, and I might even attach the I-cord straps but not completely attach, and see where I'm at that point. So this is what I worked on the plane, and then there was only a couple occasions during vacation where I was able to sit and work on this, but really not that much. And then on the way back home, I was able to work on it a little bit more. But yeah, it was a little bit difficult for the night flight because it was very dark, and then the light over my seat was almost too bright, so I just kind of relaxed in my reclined seat, sipping on my cup of tea, watching my movies. Yeah, again, a really great flight experience there. So that was what I was working on for vacation. What I was wearing for the flight there and back, I wore my green, sage green Levitate Wrap, which is this one here. I wore this over top of, I think I'm actually wearing the same thing. Oh, I'm wearing my first Levitate Wrap, which is made out of the Knit Up and Cascade Ecological Wool. It's an undyed one. The colorway is called Beige. I'm wearing a V-neck long sleeve top, which is what I wore underneath on the way to Mexico. Underneath this, and this was the perfect layer for wearing on the flight. And this has already been machine washed and dried since my vacation, because this is Drops Baby Merino is a superwash treated wool. Yeah, I wasn't too hot, I wasn't too cold. Of course, there's blankets provided on the flight as well, but I didn't need it on the way there. And very comfortable. I think I wore this one morning in Mexico while we were still inside in the AC. Otherwise, just wore this one on the flight. And I did bring 2 summer tops to wear there, and I don't really have any other summer tops. I think these are the only ones I've actually knit up for myself. But I brought 2 tops that I made for myself last summer. This one is Camisole number 9. This one is with some gifted yarn from Hobie. It's the extra fine merino in the color olive. I really like this color, especially with my tan. You might be able to see it in my face a bit. Might be even see my sunglass tan there. But my shoulders and my legs are quite dark. I'm fortunate enough that, you know, even when I wear sunscreen, I do wear a lot of sunscreen. I just tan and tan and tan, and I hardly burn at all, which is good because there's obviously like areas I forget to put sunscreen on would be like my feet, and my feet are fine. I did burn a little bit when we went snorkeling one day to swim with some turtles. I had my surf shirt on, like a rash guard, full length, full sleeves, but my butt wasn't covered because I was in my bathing suit, and that area got a little toasty. And but yeah, that happens. Like that's the same spot I get a little bit burnt surfing as well. So anyway, so yeah, Camisole number 9. It was a little bit warm to wear this out like midday. This was something I wore like earlier inside in the AC or later in the evenings, and I would pair this either with shorts, or I brought flowy long pants with me. And then I also brought my mini mock neck. This is from Jessie Made Designs. This one's also in a superwash merino gifted from Hobie. This is the unicorn solid in the color green tea. This one's quite cropped on me, and I pair this with shorts and long flowy pants as well. This one I did wear out on one of our kind of like downtown outings, and it was hot. But I think I would have been just as hot wearing any of the other tops I made, because I think it was like 31, 32 degrees plus lots of humidity. And there were some moments where I had to carry Darcy. So yeah, got a little sweaty, but would have happened anyways, regardless of what top I was wearing. And I've also machine washed and dried both of these as well, and I think they look great. And I did leave them like just the slightest bit damp. I didn't dry them completely in the dryer because I wanted to lay them flat and just make sure that the hem wasn't curled up. But yeah, I would totally machine wash these again. It's I think that was important to me about making summer knits that can be washed like that, because those are items that I'm definitely sweating in. So it just gives me a little bit of peace of mind and ease to have some superwash garments. Even though I do prefer knitting with non-superwash, I do like superwash for the fact of how smooth it is, how it's non-irritating, and machine washable. So that's just a little snippet of knitting related vacation stuff. Now that I'm back home, priority goes to my test knit, which started in February. I was just thinking how far back we have to go for that. But I am one of the testers for the Hannah cardigan my size, which is designed by my friend Sarah, Noelle Knits. And so I don't know if I have shown this at all, but before I left for vacation, I had finished the back, the front panels, and I even bound off the ribbing on the body. And since I've returned from vacation just a few days ago, I've started one sleeve. I'm getting caught. So this is Knit Picks Palette Bear. It's undyed. You can buy this yarn in like bulk quantities. And Palette is a Peruvian wool, fingering weight, and it's a 2-ply. Let's see if I can get this in there. This is a half fisherman's rib V-neck cardigan, and the options are you can either knit this in a single strand of DK, or you can hold 2 strands of fingering together, which is what I am doing. And then if you are holding a single strand of DK, then it's kind of recommended you do the 1x1 rib button band. And if you are holding 2 strands of fingering, then you can use 1 strand of fingering to make the double knit button band option. Now, that doesn't mean that you couldn't do the double knit button band with DK. The kind of like implications of that change is that your button band just might be a little thicker than the sample that Sarah has done. Because you can imagine when the button bands are on top of each other, like it might seem bulky. It depends on which yarn you're using, and you may have to adjust the gauge a bit, which I think is an option that will be included in the pattern, because there is at least one person in the test group that is trying to do the double knit band with a DK strand. It all comes down to really preference. It's not like you can't do it, as I said, but I ended up when I did the children's size of the Hannah cardigan, I was holding 2 strands of Holscar and Super Soft together, and I actually held it double as well for the double knit button band, and it seemed to work out fine. It is a very light fingering and it does bloom a bit, but I found with my tension on that button band that I could hold 2 strands together and it was fine. So just thought I'd mention that. So all I have left to do is finish the first sleeve, pick up and do the second sleeve, and then do the button band. And although I am doing the 2 strands of fingering held together option, I think I might do a 1x1 rib button band. There's just something about this natural color, and I'm just kind of envisioning maybe tortoiseshell buttons perhaps, but this, I feel like it's telling me to do a 1x1 rib button band. I don't know, I've seen some people already finish their button band and I'm kind of digging the look and the vibe from that, and I don't often do rib button bands. I'm definitely a double knitting person. I love to double knit. I know many people don't, and yes, it does take some time, but there's something rhythmic and therapeutic about it that I really enjoy and that I find quite satisfying. So for me to say that I'm going to do a 1x1 rib button band is not my usual routine, one could say. So yes, this is the Hannah cardigan. I have until I think it's April 14th to finish it, which hopefully, as long as I don't get distracted by my other projects, I should be able to finish it. I also had this crazy idea. So today's Tuesday. Fibers West is this coming Friday and Saturday. And I had this crazy idea of what if I finish this cardigan to wear on Saturday when I go to Fibers West. But also, again, kind of a crazy idea, and I don't know if I have enough time to wet block it prior to Saturday, so I don't know. We'll see how I feel later today if I get back into knitting this, because I am halfway done this first sleeve, and that took me not too long. I feel like sleeves go by kind of quick, but anyway, that's a crazy idea. Don't know if I'm going to follow through with that. Next whip to update you on is Mouche, the bear, that I'm working on for my daughter Darcy. I was dedicating the kind of the time period while she was at preschool prior to going on vacation to working on this bear, and I am on one of the legs, like lower legs. He's got like, there we go. Oops. Yeah, I've done enough of it that I can't stick my hand in here anymore to hold it like a puppet. But here's one of the legs here. This is like a little marker to mark where the tail will be. But yeah, so like these stitches are on hold for the other leg, and so I'm working on this leg first. But it's very exciting that it's coming together, and it's nearly there. So once Darcy returns to preschool again, because it's still spring break, I will again dedicate that time to working on this bear. And yeah, it would have been nice for this to be done by Easter, but Easter weekend is this coming weekend, right? Yeah. So I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't know why I always come up with these ideas of short deadlines. Like, why do I pressure myself that much? I don't know, but I do love a challenge. So yeah, Mouche is coming along. Mouche is in the same yarn as the Hannah cardigan, in case you're like, oh, that looks very similar. Yes, same yarn. I have a lot of it. I bought a lot. I think I bought 20 skeins because I think that's the size of the bulk pack that you can buy, because one, it was on sale, and two, I thought buying an undyed, very natural looking color would be easy to pair with some colorful mohairs and suris that I have in my stash. So that was the reasoning for buying so much of that yarn. In this bag, I have the Esther Jacket, the PetiteKnit pattern. I think it's the most recently released pattern. When I last showed you this one, I had just a portion of the back yoke done. And this is actually my first time taking this out of the bag since vacation, so I might be as surprised as you how much progress I've made. And oh, it's a crumpled mess. What do I have here? I have a lot going on, and it looks like this needle is not behaving. It's like, okay, so I can see I have done the upper back yoke, right panel, and I'm on the left front panel now. And this thing looks tiny because it's not blocked. Well, that's doesn't really indicate anything at all. Maybe if I untied my stitch holder, would that help? There we go. Back yoke, front right. There's an armhole here. So it's not joined yet. And now I'm on the left front. So pretty good progress since I last shared with you guys. This is something that's going to be really exciting to block, because anything with texture is always so kind of crumply and bunched up together, and I'm looking forward to seeing this kind of relax and take its form. This stitch pattern is, I would say intuitive. It's really just moss stitch, strategically placed moss stitch. So you can, if you're really good at reading your stitches, then you don't need to look at the chart, but there is a chart for everything. And I will say that, say, compared to the Moby sweater, if you've done the Moby sweater from PetiteKnit, sorry, I got fluff on my chin. When you work on that one, you kind of have rest rows on the wrong side. Not complete rest, like all pearls are all stockinette, but you work the stitches as they appear on the Moby sweater. Whereas this one, you have to still maintain the stitch pattern on the wrong side as well. So you can't completely shut down, but you can still read the stitches. And if you understand what's going on in the motif, then you can totally do it without looking at the chart, which is what I've been doing. And then for keeping track of which row you're on, there's a column here of stockinette, and it's always knit stitches here. So that's where I'm putting my stitch markers to count which row I'm on, because you do have to keep track and make sure that you finish on the same row in the stitch pattern repeat for the front and the back, so that when you later join it, that pattern, continues. So that is coming along nicely. And I just remembered something about Camisole number 4, so I want to go back to that because there is some modifications that I've done in that one that may be helpful to hear for some people. So Camisole number 4 is using fingering weight yarn, and the recommended needles is 3.5 millimeters. However, I'm using 3mm needles. And so what happened when I swatched with the recommended needles, I found that the fabric was just too open, and I also wasn't hitting gauge, but more importantly to me was that I didn't like the fabric. Not hitting gauge is not a big issue for me. It's all about, do I like the fabric? And I didn't. So I sized down, and what that meant is that I am not knitting with the pattern gauge. So the pattern gauge is 25 stitches by 32 rows, I think. Yeah, 25 stitches by 32 rows is the gauge in the pattern. My gauge is 27 stitches by 41 rows. So in terms of stitch gauge, I'm not too far off. I'm only 2 stitches off. But with row gauge, I'm almost 10 stitches off, which could be significant. I'm using fingering weight. So in terms of the overall distance, it's not, dire consequences. But if I was, say, knitting something with worsted weight or a bulky weight, like that's a big difference. And so what that means is I had to do some calculations and some measuring for the triangle portion of the top. And so the concern is whether my triangles with my gauge would still provide enough coverage for my bust. I don't have a very large bust, so I decided to not add any like makeup rows. So given the pattern gauge and the number of rows that are done for the size that I'm doing, which is size 2, the small, I have a 3 centimeter difference in overall length of this triangle compared to the pattern triangle. And 3 centimeters could mean a lot, but looking at the design of this top, the V is quite deep. And I noticed that the I-cord straps aren't very long. So this triangle really goes kind of way up there. And I had heard from other people who have made this top, they found that, they made their straps as short as they could, but the V is, very, very low. And I wanted a little bit more modesty. I didn't want to wear something that was too low cut. So I made the decision to keep it as is. Also, I do have a top very similar in my closet that I measured. So it has a triangle top, and I measured from the top here down to where the two front triangles meet, and it's 13 centimeters, which is the same as this top. So that worked out really nicely to have something in my closet with that measurement, because then I know that I'm going to have enough coverage this way. And by having a shorter triangle, it also means I get to have a little bit more of that I-cord strap, which is a look that I want to have more of. Sorry, I just got a sliver from that hanger. Wow. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know why I'm going to try to show you that, but a piece of wood went into my finger. I didn't just drop that on the floor, I just dropped it in the plant pot that I have here. Okay. So since my stitch gauge is only 2 stitches off, I figured I'm going to be okay width-wise with covering my bust as well. So that is what's going to be different about mine. I have about 3 centimeter shorter triangles, and then hopefully, not hopefully, but I will have longer like I-cord straps, and it'll be more of a spaghetti top on me. So that is what I wanted to add about my Cami number 4. Last whip I'll share is my sweet shop blanket. And I have added probably just only a couple more squares, but I wanted to bring it up because it kind of segues into some yarn that I'm looking to purchase. I love how bright all the colors are. So some of you may recall I did buy enough minis at Knit City Vancouver back in September to make the full-size sweet shop blanket. However, Elise Sunday Fibre Co on April 1st will be launching her True Colors collection, and she is going to have mini sets. And I'm thinking I'm going to buy at least one set so I can add some of those colors into this blanket because they are so nice. And speaking of Sunday Fibre Co, let's get into my acquisitions that I have for the month of March. So in addition to the regular collection launches, Elise has been releasing a colorway of the month. And for the month of March, the colorway is called Dreamscape, which has kind of a natural white base background with some rainbow going through it. I decided to purchase the Nimbus Surrey base. I bought 3 skeins. The sun has come out now. Oh, you can see how tan I am. And so there's some pastels, of course, because it's Elise. Pastel blue, green, orange, pink, and purple running throughout. I picked the Surrey base because I thought the colors just looked like the nicest, like evenly across. And I thought it could be really dreamy paired with Knit Picks palette that I have, and turn this into a really cozy sweater, either for myself or for my daughter Darcy, because so we opened this package not too long ago. It was waiting for me here after vacation. We opened it together, and Darcy was very excited about this yarn. So excited that she asked if she could take her own picture of it with her little camera. And yeah, so we put it on the floor for her to take pictures, and she even rearranged them for another shot. It was very cute. And yeah, I'm very happy that she's just as into yarn as I am. Not so much because she's knitting it, but you know, she appreciates it and she likes the colors of it. So may make her a new cozy sweater with a strand of this. I do have another acquisition, and then I just want to mention with acquisitions, I'm calling these ones my first official acquisitions of 2024, although for my green Levitate wrap, I did have to buy 2 skeins of yarn in order to complete that, but that was to complete an existing project, so count it, not count it. But I also purchased some mohair from Yoriko. Sorry, I gotta open this bag. You may be shocked when I hold this color up. This is Kid Silk from Yoriko Oki. If you're in Vancouver, she sells her yarn out of the studio on Granville Island. You can also order online directly from the website or on Etsy. 72% kid mohair, 28% silk. This is the color Glowworm. So she was having a sale earlier in the month, or maybe end of February, and there were only 2 of these available. And I had seen this color before, but didn't pull the trigger. But seeing them that they were on sale, I told myself I needed to get those 2. So I bought 2. It's not quite enough for what I want to make, but since then she has dyed up some more. They're not on sale, but I will purchase at least 1 more in order to finish a cardigan that I have in mind. And I really like her mohair. I also have just the natural undyed ones, and it's very, very soft. Haven't actually knit up anything in it and like worn anything with it, but to the touch and like on my face and stuff, it feels very soft. I really like it. But yeah, this color is not really like a chartreuse color. It's quite bright. I mean, it's quite vibrant. I think it looks really good in my tan though as well. So my vision for this yarn is to hold this with a strand of fingering and make the Paul cardigan from Morocco Knits. So I have the Paul sweater, which I knit up using Sunday Fibre Co's Aura Sport base in the color Rosewood. And so Morocco Knits also has a cardigan pattern. So very similar to the Paul sweater. It's got like the V and the saddle shoulders and a little bit oversized fit. So it's Fibers West this weekend. I will take a look if there is any fingering that matches this. Otherwise, I do have my eye on some Cascade Heritage yarn in the color Citron. From what I can see online, it looks like it's the right kind of like clear, bright green with a hint of yellow in it. I was considering the same yarn I used in my Cami number 9, but I'll hold that up and you can see why I didn't go with it. So when I hold these 2 up together, you know what? It's not as noticeable on camera as it is in person. So on camera, these look so much better together on camera than in person. But in person, this one is running a bit more olive, almost kind of mustard brown to it in comparison to this mohair. On camera, they look like they almost could be a good match. But in person, they're just too different for my liking. So I definitely want something that's, you know, really clear and bright like this, because that's the point of buying this mohair, is because I want a super bright green cardigan. And then while we're on the topic of this color, in the True Colors collection that we'll be releasing from Sunday Fibre Co on April 1st, sorry, not sponsored, not affiliated, I do know Elise, but she has the color Tell Me the Chartreuse. That one I will definitely be purchasing. I haven't decided whether I'm going to order the fingering weight or the DK base, but I definitely want a sweater's quantity worth of that one, because that is by far my favorite color of the collection. In terms of like, I like it and I will actually wear it. All the colors are beautiful, but I'm really digging the bright greens right now. So yeah, month of March, I'm buying fluffy fibers, even though I kind of told myself not to buy so much fluff because it's warm here in Vancouver, but colors, couldn't say no. And that is all I have to share for the month of March. Hopefully, now that I'm back, I still feel like I'm recovering from vacation, trying to get back into my routine. Dorsey's also not back in preschool, so I kind of have to survive another week before I get my free time back. But I'm happy to be back, happy to be with all my yarn and my knitting. As much fun as vacation is, it does get tiring and you start to miss home and my kitty cat Tiberius. So that is all I have for you guys today. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. And until next time, happy knitting. Bye.